Hi, this is Dr. Pramila Kudva from A Story for Your Query. Welcome to yet another podcast. This is a podcast with a difference. A few days ago, Mother's Day was celebrated all over the world. I'm going to talk about my grandmother. My grandmother was fondly referred to as Bayyu by one and all, a lady who was slightly stooping, probably due to the several pregnancies and osteoporosis. This tough lady, who appeared thin, small, all of 4 feet 10 inches tall, frail, had an impact on me as a child. I called her Mama, Mama's Mama. Summer vacations were spent at the Kalimar house, and my memories of her are as fresh and nostalgic. She would spend her time in the kitchen. However, in the afternoon, after the daily chores were over, she would sit in the front room called Chawadi, take out her padipan box, the box with the betel nut and the betel leaves, sit alongside her husband, cut the betel nut with a cutter, make the pan, and give it to him and eat it herself. A frail lady had the strength to cut the betel nut with the cutter. I don't think I could use the cutter to cut anything other than a sheet of paper. Mama would make her best Ramdan for breakfast for me. This is a kind of uttapam, a type of dosa, cooked on slow fire with mustard seasoning. A taste of it still lingers in my mouth. I don't know if it is a culinary expertise or the unconditional love that she had for her grandchildren which made it taste so good. There is an incident that was narrated to me by her, which was later corroborated by my mom about my getting lost in the backyard. Kalimar house had a huge backyard, and it had a hillock with mango, jackfruit trees going up the hillock. At the bottom were bimbul trees, banana plants, custard apple, chiku, among other things. There was a tiny stream that ran alongside. One day, baby Pramila was not to be found. Mom, and uncles kept calling out to me. Search party went around the sprawling premises looking for the toddler. Mom thought I had drowned in the stream. Fortunately, those days it was still safe and there were no kidnappers around. After a long search, I believe I was found under the bimbul tree. Bimbul, also referred to as bimli, yields fruits which are extremely sour to taste. The tree itself is a tropical short tree which branches out quickly, unlike the papaya tree. I was found busy collecting the bimbuls in the frock and standing up only to find that the bimbuls had fallen down. The whole process would begin all over again, and the engrossment was such that the search party calls were not heard. On hindsight, I realize that I still go hammer and tongs at a task and don't leave it half done. Mama introduced me to a game of Gurupale. It is a game played with conch shells. She was a pro at this game and would willingly lose the game so that I would be thrilled about the win. She gifted the Gurupale to me when I was about 10 years old. Mama exhibited grit. There are a couple of occasions that I remember to prove the point. It is probably her legacy that I have inherited which makes me a fighter. Ganesh Chaturthi at Kalimar house was an event that was etched in my memory. The grinding stone would start rolling in the wee hours of the morning to get food ready for the puja. Coconut graters would be grating tens of coconuts. We believed that Ganapati Bappa loved to eat, and it was reflected in the number of items that had to be cooked for the festival. There would be a typical GSP, that is Gaud Saraswat Brahmin delicacy, like patrado, appo, podi, karatambade gashi, among other things. Puja would be performed. The tillers from the fields would line up behind the house. They would refer to Mama as Detti. Each of them would be served a meal after the puja by Mama. After everything was over, she would settle down to eat. I have not heard her say once that she was tired. During World War II, I believe the cloth business that Ganpati Kudva was running folded up. Suddenly, a well-to-do family found itself on dire straits. This frail lady took it upon herself to hold the front. Every summer when I visited Kalimar house, she would be making god happalu, sweet pappats for the children, white pappats, red happalu, pappats, pickles, shevai, semia to be dried and stored. She would toil for hours on the daily basis making this. These things would be stored in airtight containers to be used during monsoon. She was an environmentalist, an eco friendly person who believed in conserving water. The place for washing clothes was next to the well. The water after washing clothes would feed the coconut trees in the backyard. It served two purposes here: conserving water and energy. There was no need to water these coconut plants once again. The cow dung was used to make dung cakes that would serve as manure for the plants. Organic manure was not a new concept at Kalimar House. She was a learned lady, although she had studied only up to grade 4. She had taught herself to read Marathi books. She encouraged her children to study. She and her eldest daughter Swarna would have a book reading session every evening at 5 p.m., where all neighbors would assemble at her house. If I have a love for reading, you know where it comes from. All memories were not happy memories for me. There were some moments that I dreaded. During monsoon, to step out of the main building to go towards the bathroom, one would use a kidanjal, which was made up of coconut leaves and provided a hands-free cover from the rain. This might have baby lizards hiding in them, and I dreaded using these. Umbrellas were not commonly used for the purpose in those days. I know now. I knew earlier. I think I always knew it. Why grandmothers are called so. They are simply grand. With this, I come to the end of the podcast. If you have any questions or if you have any messages, please use the voice message, and queries could be addressed to yourquery@gmail.com. I don't know where your hesitation is coming from. You have a grandmother, don't you? Tell me about her. See you in a fortnight. Take care. Goodbye.